coaches nowadays get really bad names, right? So there's scam artists out there and people out there that inevitably, if you hear
Unregulated
coach,
industry.
you're like, what does that mean? What kind of coach? And
Yeah.
then people
Yeah.
will come with like this sort of face, like, okay. And then they're like a bit defensive because they're apprehensive with the bad things that they've heard, which is understandable. But how do you deal with that as well on top is what I wanted to add on.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question, man. Well, so first of all, it's individual. So I would want to speak to the individual and ask their individual experience of coaching and their individual perception of view. Because what they might be doing is, again, is imbibing a view of something that their mother's father's sister said to the person on the plane when they sat next to her brother's, like dog. So it's like, well, we've got to understand, is this coming from their heart? Do they truly believe it? And if so, where is it rooted? And then just go in and find out what it is, man. Like if it's, well, because sometimes people say to me, well, it's because I've had a coach before and it just didn't work. I was like, okay, well, what was the coach? What happened? What did they use? What methodology did they use? And what you find out is that a lot of the time they've just been given a list of 20 values or 100 values and then been asked, oh yeah, so which one of these really jump out at you? Which ones do you think are your core values? And you're like,
There you are.
is this some sort of sick joke? How
Bingo.
Yeah, like, well, one week I'd probably pick these three, and like the next week when my wife's on my ass, like I'll probably pick those, like peace and harmony and freedom and joy. And on the other half, next week I might be having like compassion and benevolence. So no, it's most of the opinions around coaching are founded upon a bad experience, and it's about going into that experience and saying, that's the experience you've had and this is where I'm different. And if I'm not different, then I'll be like, fair enough. I had one guy actually really recently, this is cool that this has happened because I can answer this question a bit better with a real case study. So there's a guy who had tried Tony Robbins' course, like live, a couple of his live courses and bits of coaching as well, not with Tony Robbins himself, because otherwise he'd have to be a millionaire.
Yep.
And I was I've got to say, I'll be really honest with you guys, I was a little bit intimidated because I was like, well, look, this guy is the top of his game, right? There's no one higher in terms of the top of his game than Tony Robbins,
PD.
you could say, in terms of the coaching space. He pretty much like almost created this industry. And now this guy's saying to me, yeah, they tried to tell me where I should go and what I should do, my direction and my values, and really I didn't resonate with any of it. And I was like, gosh, man, like, well, look, this is what, and I just said to him, look, this is what I do. This is my methodology, and everything I've explained on this podcast. And fair play to the guy. He went, well, I don't have any better options and I need to change. So I'm going to go with you. And I'm going to hope that it works. And I was like, I hope it works too. And anyway, we just finished up, and actually, let's have a look. I wonder if I could get his feedback.
Testimonial?
Well, yeah, just as like I'll say the questions that I asked him on this feedback form, and I'll give you and I'll show you the answers. Well, I could share my screen, but I'll just read them out. Hold on. All right, so let's see what he said. So the first question is, using a number from 0 to 10 overall, how would you rate the UCU program experience against your expectations? He gave it a 9 out of 10, which is probably the worst rating I've had. And then he said on 3, he said, it says, if you didn't select 10, why not? And he said, I think another part matching potential jobs to values, etc., could be helpful, which is cool. I quite like that idea, but it's not part of the methodology. It would be an add-on where we would say, okay, let's look at some potential jobs, then let's look at your values, and let's together look at the alignment between those things. And then he said, like, out of 0 to 10, how do you rate the program on achieving the desired results you set out at the beginning? And he gave it 10 out of 10. Out of 5 stars, how do you rate your facilitator overall? 5 out of 5. And then he just shared his challenges, which I felt completely stuck in life before I started, and now I feel I have more direction to head in, knowing what my real values are. And then I said, would you recommend us to others? He said, yes. Ideally, should be something that 16 to 18-year-olds do at school, so they know before they enter the real world what their values are, etc.
Yeah, I think that's important, man.
Yeah, man. This is something we should know early on. But it's never too late. And then it just says, if you're thinking about doing the UCU program, like who's considering signing up, what would you say? And he just said, do it. It's challenging and made me really think about my life today. And it's the first time ever I came away with what my values and mission and vision is. I can now assess future opportunities with that question. Will this move me closer to fulfilling my values and mission or further away? So based on the fact that this guy clearly had some serious coaching, like top of the game coaching, and it's only going through this program where he's finally actually had the clarity that he's been looking for. Man, that was some validation for me. I mean, he's like a super chill guy, so it's not going to be like the most elaborate theatrical testimonial, but it's real. It's super real. And so I'm super pleased. So to answer your question, man, it's individual. You talk them through, and we're not coaches, we're facilitators. So the methodology does a lot of the heavy lifting. We're facilitators. So we facilitate people through the methodology. So that's an important distinction.